Hello and welcome to another video of provider playlist. In today's video we will see another example and compare the set state with the provider. So in the previous video lecture we have discussed about how can we use a single provider, but in today's video we will see how can we use multiple provider. So let's begin with the other example and compare the both uh, set state and the notify listeners. How can we use multi-provider and integrate it into our mm, project? So let's create uh, and design a screen. Uh, I will just right click here and new file and name it example2.dart, and here I will be designing the UI screen and show you how can we do and implement or integrate the provider, uh, and how can we make our application efficient. So all when we use set state, the whole widgets will rebuild for a single click or a single tap, or uh, for only one count, for only one widget, all the screen is being rebuilt. So to solve this issue we have learned provider. How can we resolve this uh, rebuilding whole the screen? So in this example we will also see how can we do it. um, believe me, this in the last video you have learned um, how to use provider. That was whole the provider. It was a simple concept, a simple and easy concept, but believe me, that was all the provider, how to use it, how to implement it, how to use consumer widget, how to wrap the change notifier provider with the material help. This was whole the provider. If you learn or understand this concept, believe me, the provider state management will be on your fingertips. So let's design our example 2. Here I will just create a stateful widget and name it example 2, and here I will use scaffold widget to design the UI, and here I will use the hep bar hep bar, and I will just give it a title here. In the title text, the provider example 2. Here we will use the const keyword to remove the warnings, and I will just do some stylings here. So I will use style and text style, and just use the color, change colors dot white, and here I will use a comma and save it. So on the main screen I will just uh, call the example2 to show the screen on our emulator example2, and here we see app bar. Sorry, example2. So just, yeah, the color of the scaffold is white and the text color is also white, so that's why it is not being shown on the screen. So let's change the background color of the app bar, which we use background property colors dot the purple, and here you go, we see app bar and the title with provider example 2. So now After designing the app part, I will come here and design the body part. So I will use center widget, and center we use child, hand on child. I will use a column and column is a multi-child widget, so we use children. In this example I will use a slider to increase the slider. The opacity of two containers will be increased, and when I decrease the slider, the opacity will be low. So let's design the design first, and then we will code the logics. So for before I need a slider, so I will just call this slider widget, which needs a value and onChange function. So here I will declare a variable now, name it slider value, and just initialize it with 0, and I will provide uh, it here, which is the slider value. Sorry, I will just correct the spelling. SLID here, slider value, SLID here, value here, and on chain function we uh, a value and a body. So here you see a slider has been appeared. So it is on the top, so I want to bring it on the center. So I will use the column property main axis alignment to center, so it will go to the uh, at the screen center. So after the slider, I need two container here to make the optimization. When I will increase this, the opacity will be increased. When I decrease it, the opacity will decrease. So in the column widget, I will use a row and the children, and a container on container which will be under the expanded widget, which occupy the whole available spaces. So here I will use on the child a container and a decoration box decoration, and I will use the color property, uh, colors dot green, and with opacity I will use the slider value which I have declared before at the top. So here I will use this and just paste it here. And again, now we need uh, a name on the container to uh, find which container is being so I will use the child widget. On the child widget I will use a text widget, and I will use a name container1, and wrap this with the center widget, so the name should be on the center. So here I will wrap it with the center widget and use the const keyword to remove the warning. So I will just save it here. uh, so I will increase the sorry. So here I've created a single widget, and now here comes a container. So I need two containers. So I will just copy and paste this container and rename it with container2, and change the color also. Here I will make it red, and I will give it a height 100, sorry, and width double dot infinity. Save it, and copy this and paste it to the other container also. So here now just I will implement it. When I increase the slider, the opacity will increase, and when I lower the decrease the slider, it will decrease the color opacity of the container. So here on the on change value, I will just store the value here on. When I am increasing it, the value of this slider will be stored on the slider value which I have created before. So here we will use slider value is equal to value, and just we will use the set state to refresh the UI instantly. So now just see the magic how it is being with the color opacity. It is working fine, but here comes the issue which we have already discussed, that for all when we are sliding this, when we are sliding this and increasing or decreasing this, all the widgets like scaffold is being rebuilt, app bar is being rebuilt, the center widget is being rebuilt, and if we use any other widget in this code, when I decrease the slider, whole the widget, whole the build widget is being rebuilt, which will lose our application efficiency and which will make the application very slow. When we work on a complex projects or application, it will lose the efficiency of our project. So that is the reason we are using the provider, or we will use any other state managements in our project to maintain the efficiency, to make our application faster. So here is the main reason we are using state management provider, which is very simple. So I have shown what is the problem with the set state. So now I will just uh, use the provider and show you again how this is how to solve this issue with the provider. So when I will increase this, I will show you on the debug console that the old widget is being rebuilt again and again. So I will use a print statement. Here I will type build, and just here I will save it. See, when I saved it, it was built. Now when I decrease it, see, every time I'm decreasing it, our widget is being the old build widget is being rebuilt. So to overcome this issue, we will use our provider, which is our state management. So for that, first of all, we will create a class example 2 provider.dart, and we will just import the foundation library, import foundation, and we will create a class which will be named as example 2 provider with the change notifier. So here we have just created a class, and now we will use the multi provider in the main. In the previous example, we have just used a single provider, which you are seeing on the screen. It was the example, but now in this example we will use multi provider. So I will just remove this widget from here. Now it is returning the material heap. So now again I will return um, multi sorry, I will return the return multi provider here. uh, Here this providers is requiring a list, so we will provide uh, providers list here, so we know that we can provide list by using the square brackets. So now uh, here we will use the change notifier provider, and again we will use the uh, which class we are providing to the change notifier provider. We will use the context of that class here, that is the example one provider, and again we will save it. And here we will see an error, so let it be, and we will just copy and paste the second change notifier, and I will provide it example 2 provider which we have created the class now. So after this we require a child. In the child we will provide in the child we will provide our material application. So here I will come out of the list and just provide the material application. I will remove the return here. I will just remove the semicolon here. And now we have just configured our multi provider, and here I am just providing two classes of our provider which we have created, one at the first part and the example I have created just now. So here we can use many classes and multi provider in the using multi provider and providers. So in the main section I have done uh, the coding. Now just let's go ahead and implement it um, in the provider logic. So I will just declare a double variable for the slider value, which will be uh, slider value which is a private uh, variable, and I will initialize it with 0.0, and I will create a getter function for this. Double get slider value arrow function and the slider. So after this I will just create a function to uh, store the value of slider, which we will get it from our this screen, example 2 screen, and I will just provide it um, into the function which I am going to create it. So void set slider value, here a function, here this, and I will just uh, pass a variable, name it value, and here I will just store this value into our this variable. In this value we will get the value whenever we increase the slider, so we will get the value from this screen. So here I will just the value slider value is equal to this value, and um, notifier I will just call the notifier listener, which will listen if anything changes. The UI will automatically be refreshed and the screen will changes accordingly. So I've just implemented the logic of provider here, and I will now go and design um, this part. So now we are not using the this variable, so I will just remove it. So here, and I will I will wrap this widget with a consumer widget which is being provided from the provider package consumer. Here I have the consumer, and consumer needs a class of which class data we are accessing. So I will just provide that class, which is example to provider, and the consumer also needs an a builder. So just implement that builder widget, and it is asking to return something, so we will return this slider widget which we have already created. I will cut it from here and return here, and now just I will remove this child, and here I will put a semicolon and just save it. And now I want to get the value from this class, so I will use, so here I will change the name for the reason, um, because this value and this value are same, so it will, it though both are being conflicted, so we need to change the name. So I will rename this value to the provider. So here I have renamed it. So I will just access the value of example to provider class by provider dot slider value. So now as we are using the provider package, we don't need to use set here. So I will just call it provider dot set value, and I will just pass this value of the slider to this value, which will when I increase this, the value of this value variable will be stored in our slider value. So here I have just used it and I've saved it. Now I just want to uh, also access the slider value in our container. So I need to wrap the this whole row with our consumer widget. So I will just do that. Consumer needs a class, which is our example to provider, and it also requires a builder. So just implement that builder, and it requires to return something, so I will just return this whole row. Here just I will do, and I will cut it here and I will paste it here. So here a semicolon, and I will just remove this child from here and put a comma here. So now easily by this value I can access the value of the other class. Here it is value dot slider value. I will just save it, and after saving this I will just restart it. After restarting it, I will just increase the slider. So now just see, only the widget of this slider is being built again, and the whole widgets are not being built. So that is why we use provider state management or any other state management in our project or application to make our application efficient and more faster. So this was a simple concept. If you learn this concept, and if you understand this concept, believe me, the provider state management will be on your fingertips. Hope you have liked this video, and if you have learned something new from this video. If it is so, please don't forget to subscribe my channel, and please do share this video with your friends and colleagues. Thank you.